Oh,
Yeah, so she ran
that's
everybody's
amazing.
papers through, I don't know what program it was, but yeah. She had the power to actually fail everybody their senior year that did it. But like
That's amazing.
she sticks out because she realized that, senior year is kind of vital for everybody, right? And instead of failing everybody, she made it so that if one person from those people did it again, then everybody would have to fail that did it the first time. Could you imagine how stressful that was for every student that affected?
Yeah.
But at the same time, good on her for, putting the fate of everybody in their own hands.
Definitely. They had to keep each other in line. Make each other behave. Basically.
I couldn't even imagine being only a couple of years older than students as a teacher.
If I have students that recommend or that want to be teachers, I will recommend that they don't start out immediately in high school. It's rough. If you're going to be 23 or whatever when you get out of college and you're going to be a teacher, go to middle school first. At least you're older than the kids. To middle schoolers, somebody 20 something is ancient.
Yeah. Oh, you're so old. You don't understand. Yeah, I'm not that much older, but okay. But like, that had to be intense for her also. Like, I knew, I looked at it like, oh my gosh, this teacher's judging all my work, and she's only a couple years older than me. Zoe the zombie. Ooh, I love your name. You go into elementary to teach. I mean, elementary's not easy either.
Oh, no.
But I think I would prefer elementary over high school, especially starting off. It's because of the whole age thing. I actually have a friend who is a teacher, and she's like, I don't think I could have ever just jumped into high school, even though I love teaching high school. He started as a kindergarten teacher. I think she did that for 4 or 5 years, and then she started high school.
I taught 4th grade first. Honestly, there's not much difference between 4th graders and high school kids. Hey, Zoe!
Little dude can't wait till he's in high school. I'm like, slow down, you're the baby of the family.
You're not allowed to grow up! Right?
I cried when the oldest graduated high school, so can you imagine, baby girls next? Yeah, that's gonna be rough. And then when he's in high school, I'm really gonna cry because, yeah. Because I think that's gonna be rough too, but in a different way. He's not the oldest or, like, the only girl or, stuff like that. But he's still, part of me. Oh, I did there, but I messed up. Food shopping on Walmart, awesome. My poor husband got stuck at work again today. kitty cat. Hi, baby girl. On his head. Something cool about charity that we're doing today is Hope for the Day will actually go to like schools to help.
It's amazing.
And I love that because, especially, you know, since social media is so big anymore, anything that happens anywhere, especially in a school, gets blown up.
Oh, definitely. And usually out of proportion.
Yeah. So just knowing that there's a group that will go and help, that's amazing.
If it's driving you crazy that I keep looking up, my pattern is right above my head.
Like, my pattern's to the right. Hoping you don't need to move the stitch. I don't know, Sam. I don't know. Are you near the edge? It might be, you got this. So, Sam, now clearly, Vintage and I are using the same type of hoop. I think mine's a different size. But we both use the hoop different. So I go so the clamp part is on the back. And Vintage, it looks like your clamp part is on the front, so it's popped up, whereas mine is popped down.
Yeah, you do what's called stitching in the well.
Yeah.
This is habit. I just do it this way because this is the way I've always done it.
Yeah, and like part of it's exactly that. Like, I always tell people, like, you normally go back to how you learned or what you first started with. And my mom originally handed me how yours is, right? But I flipped it because the hoop actually said this side up on the inner ring. So I just went with it.
Makes sense.
But because I like going close as possible to the edge, it works out really well. Munchkin is down.
Yeah, you can get closer to the edge when you do it in the well. Okay. One needle mushroom done.
Oh, those are cute. That was a boop. Hi, Jody. How's it going? F's look weird, but I know they're not. Once they're done. Minion is chaos and Daddy is oh no. Cat, go save Minion. Jody, what are you working on today? Also, Jody's the only other person besides my guest star for next Saturday that knows who's gonna guest with next week.
Nice. Super secret guest star.
It's for a really good reason. And Lurkin went to go meet Jay, then you ate, ooh, what was for food stuff? Ooh, I was gonna have.
That's not how you get to me, no. We could sit in the shade, talk
I actually ate noodle soup for. It was pretty good. It's that home style Campbell's.
That sounds good.
Others, he bought me can last week. I liked it, so I bought more. Fish and chips, working on Jay's hoodie, but taking a break, crocheting cake. Awesome! Sending me asked it, yes. Jack says that she'll fight. I'm joking. Then again, I mean, 2 calico females in the same room, that might happen. You never know. Would it be pure chaos, though? Yes.
Something is off.
As the designer of that pattern stated, going rogue is alright.
Well, I know, but I want to make sure it's not me. Weird.
No idea where. Hi, crafting addict. How are you doing
Can't
today?
figure it out.
All's well in your corner of the world. You know, as long as it's close enough, it's good, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to. There should be three stitches here, but to line up with the others, it's only 2. So I'm not real sure what I'm doing wrong.
Absolutely nothing, it looks like. Feel good for once? Awesome. I'm happy.
I bet you I know what's wrong now. I bet you it's this. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15. Okay? This would be 15.
I thought I messed up here. Like, this is gonna run into the F. No, it's not. Oh boy. You know, mental health help is really essential for parents. Just throwing that out there.
Well,
Especially if you have more than one kid. Like, one kid can be stressful. But sometimes, you know, you add the mix, even if it's not your kid, even if it's like their friend. Stress can be real. The doctor's visit earlier in the week, awesome. Ooh, getting a good. That's great. I hope I have enough room for the other. I mean, I could move my whole thing. So, what's the fun in that? Vintage, you've done so much already on your.
Yeah, I'm kind of amazed myself.
Now, you normally cross stitch a lot, so I know you've done back work or back stitch on some of your pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So doing black work kind of shows you just the details possible, right?
Oh yeah, and I also have done like black work before as well.
I think I always forget how quick it is compared to cross.
Oh, it's super fast.
Sleep apnea, so you had to get a CPAP machine. Aw, well, I'm happy that you found out because that's scary. Ah, baby girl. Oh. Cancer. It says the ceiling. Now I gotta figure out what colors I want to use. Oops.
Oh, you should use like find ones that match the coffees. Like look online at like a picture of a frappe.
Yeah, so and the patterns they have, like a shade of white for like the ice and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, looking at what variegated colors I have and going off of that.
That would be fun. That would be super fun.
I remember where I put them. What's the point in remembering?
Then you don't get the thrill of the hunt.
Listening.x has stopped functioning on menu, of course.
You know what I said? You need to restart him.
Oh look, I found them.
Hit that reset button.
So there's ice cream, and caramel. A lot.
Oh my gosh. Where did he get the idea to do that?
Oh boy, Cat, that's a mess. But I think for water, I'm gonna use Ice Wyvern because it's blue.
Yeah. That'll be pretty.
What else? Do I have so many colors. Speaking of children, I might have to kick one off of their computers.
Uh-oh.
Hi, Dandy. How's it going? I hope all's well in your corner of the world. And Cad's mom's here. Oh.
Yeah.
Cat. Yes, cat. Kids and adults do make lots of trash. Maybe I'll just do like this special. Different colors. Like the lighter colors. Like the ice cream, the caramel, the water. Just woke up from a nap. I wish I could nap. Oh,
I
definitely
could use a nap.
Definitely. I wonder if I have something that'll look good for.
Bitty stitches right here in this little bitty space.
I have that. End of the road, make a turn. Oh. Garbage pickup does that. Yeah, which puzzles me because here, when I paid for garbage pickup, I paid for garbage and recycling. The same truck, same exact truck, would first come around for garbage, go around the block, and come back and pick up all the recycling. What sense did that make? Why was I paying for two services? Here's all of myself. What if I do toasted marshmallow for coffee?
Which one? Ooh.
Brown to, I think it's a navy blue. Not sure. It's hard to actually do this with that. Like, I don't know. I think I'm gonna start with just one thing. So we have stuff I got. That's ice cream. That's something for the ice cream. There we go. Thank you, Kat. So if you want to see some incentives, I could pop them up. They don't go away too.
There they go.
Totally. Me too. Not really. Not too well. Or, you know what I might do? Because I'm chaos. A couple years ago when DMC messed up and you got the Etoile really cheap, I got 2 boxes of it for the price of half a box. Maybe I'll just use those.
Sparkly. Like the crystals in the Folgers crystals.
Yeah. That's some incentives. Yeah. I'm okay with all the incentives. For the most part. I will do them. It is my choice. Yeah, I think we're gonna use these. But these away for now. Oh wow, Dandy, I'm so sorry to hear that. It's terrible. I hope that you get all the help that you need. But Kat was right on par with me, that one. You know, they say great minds think alike, but, you know, that's not always true. What am I doing? I don't... That was a little chaos there in my life. It makes sense. There's enough color. Your brains. I mean, I think it's more.
Yes, we do.
I think it's more, great minds think similar. I only say that because, like, it might be the same concept, but different wording and stuff.
Same brain, same brain.
Oh, adds in 5 minutes.
Her version of the brain is like 20 years younger.
Oh, Gran, hello. Popped in is aw. Due to the topic, mental health awareness is important. Yes, struggling with it daily and realize how important talking, medication, and skills therapy or anything else that can help you is. I agree. So, I know Vintage knows, but if by chance you don't know, I work with people, well, I work for the state with people with developmental disabilities, and that doubles up with mental health issues. So, mental health awareness is kind of near and dear to my heart because of that. And, all the different ways to, deal with a mental crisis is amazing. So I go through training, and actually for this specific topic, right, with mental health and, mental health behaviors and stuff like that, I'm actually starting to train people how to deal with that at work, which is kind of awesome. So a couple months ago, I went to the training to be a trainer for this, and on, I believe, Wednesday's my first day of co-teaching.
Nice.
I'm just a little nervous because, well, I love doing what I do, and I normally work directly in contact with the individuals, but now and it's all new hires that I'm teaching first. Which, that's kind of essential. But I'm also glad that it's not just, people I normally work with right off. And help others in a crisis? Yeah, when you're in crisis, you can't remember skills, etc. No, that is honestly, like, right there, because you panic. Like, something's not right, and you know how to handle, like, a crisis, but because it's you lose track of what you normally help with. Almost a year and a half for a bed at the long-term hospital. Oh, Dandy, yes. And that's rough on itself, not just because you've been waiting so long, but because you don't have anywhere else to go while waiting. Does it look like my camera's blurry again? It does this time. Looks better. Now it looks bad again. Oh, that's